Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. A very warm welcome to the Advanced Audit and Assurance Webinar to Success for Exams in December 2021. I am your tutor, Kashif Kamran. Now, just before I start the proceeding of this webinar to success for December 21 exams, I just want to put in front some very important housekeeping instructions. Number one, during the conduct of the webinar, you will keep your microphone muted all the time, and you will ensure that your video is disabled. The only way you will interact with me is through the chat box. If I ask you a question or you need to respond to my question, then the only way is through the chat box. In every day, I will keep the last 15 minutes for a Q&A session. So if you have any questions pertaining to the topic we are discussing today, just note that question on a paper. And in the last 15 minutes of the webinar, I will be giving you a chance to ask the questions. So during the conduct of the webinar, if I ask you a question, please reply to that. But if you want to ask me a question, then the only way you can ask me a question is in the last 15 minutes of the webinar. I hope you've all noted that down with you. Okay, let's start with the proceeding of the webinar to success, the day one. I would first like to formally introduce myself as a tutor. I am Kashif Kamran, a fellow chartered certified accountant. In terms of my experience, my teaching experience, it's been 14 years since I am teaching the ACCA qualification. My core specialization lies in the AA paper and the AAA paper, alongside the strategic business leader paper as well. In terms of my association, I am the owner and I heads my own academy, which is the Online Lecturers Academy. And I am also associated with PAC, which is a gold approved learning provider of ACCA in Pakistan. And this webinar to success is being jointly collaborated between my academy, the Online Lecturers Academy, and the PAC College. In terms of my associations with webinars, I've already conducted 14 consecutive webinars for ACCA, which is known as the Practice to Pass session. And this time I am doing my own webinar to success. I'm also a registered mentor for Oxford Brookes University research project. So that's my tutor profile. Now moving on, you can all follow me on my social media. You can follow me on my YouTube, which is the youtube.com/Kashif Kamran. And this is very important because the recordings of this session will be uploaded daily on this YouTube channel. So you need to watch it. You need to be following it. You can follow me on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/AAA by KK. I will also be uploading important updates, including the videos of this webinar on my Facebook page. You can email me any query at kashifkamran@gmail.com. You can WhatsApp me at my WhatsApp number given. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the link to the WhatsApp group. So if you're not yet part of any WhatsApp group for Webinar to Success, then you can join this group. But if you're already part of the Webinar to Success WhatsApp group, then that's perfectly fine. But if you are not, then this is the link you can use through. This presentation will be shared with you on your WhatsApp group, so don't be worried about it. Okay, now let's proceed towards the agenda of this webinar to success. Let's first discuss the objective of this webinar to success, the pass rates of the AAA paper and the paper format, because that's extremely important, because there might be many students who are taking the AAA paper for the first time in December 2021. Okay, now in terms of the objective of this webinar, the objective is to provide you the right direction to pass the AAA exam. Our direction, which is closer to the examiner mindset, because if you are closer to the examiner mindset, that is the only way you will pass your AAA exam. So this webinar, just like the previous ones, will ensure that a right direction is provided to all of you, so you move closer to your examiner mindset. These sessions over the next 5 days will be a mind opener for all of you, as these sessions provide you the right tips and techniques to control the AAA paper and the right way to practice. So please be tuned to these webinars. This webinar to success will also mitigate your misconceptions you have about the AAA paper, and which are plenty. So let's start the journey. Let's start the webinar to success, and let's see what's in store for this webinar. In terms of the pass rates, if you look at the last 5 exam sittings and you look at the pass rates for the last 5 exam sittings, on average, it's 33%. You can see a minor ups and minor downs, but that's quite minor. But if you take the average of the last 5 exam setting, it comes to like 33%. And that means that 1/3 of the students globally pass the AAA paper and 2/3 of them fail. And if you analyze the 2/3 failure, most of them fail in the late 40s. So there must be some logical reasons of failure, and that is to be investigated over the next 5 days. Because if you are not investigating the reason of failure, you are preparing yourself for another failure. But if you are investigating the reasons of failure, you're preparing yourself for success in the December 21 exams. So I hope all of you over the next 5 days try to understand the reason of failure in the AAA paper, which is significantly higher, because 2/3 of the students globally fail, 1/3 of them pass. But I continuously tell my students that AAA is not a difficult paper. It is only a challenging paper. And a challenging paper requires a right direction. When I interact with students on a global scale, I realize that lots of students don't even have the right study plan, don't even have the right resources, don't even have the right approach to prepare for AAA paper. So the ultimate result has to be a failure, right? So till the time you don't find the right approach, you don't find the right direction, you don't find the right study planner, how will you pass the AAA paper? So this webinar will be very focused on a right study approach for December 21 exams. And that's much needed for all of you to pass in the very first exam sitting. So the pass rates are low. This is the challenge, and you have to overcome the challenge. Okay, the paper format. Just before starting the paper format, please a quick confirmation. All of you can hear me and everything is in the orderly manner. Thank you so much. Okay, the paper format. Now listen to the paper format very carefully. When you look at the paper format for the AAA, the Advanced Audit and Assurance exam comprised of 2 sections. So there are 2 sections in the paper, Section A and Section B. Section A. Section A contains a 50 marks question, which is predominantly set at the planning stage of the audit. That's true, right? Every time you open a Section A question, it is set at the planning stage. So that is a default of the AAA paper. So the question number 1 is set at the stage of planning. And that's how you start the actual audit, right? You start the actual audit with planning. So planning is the first activity, right? So examiner sets the question number 1 at the stage of planning. We'll exactly see what's inside the question number 1 in the webinar. But the Section A comprises of a question number 1, which is worth 50 marks. And in this 50 marks, you have 4 professional marks. So 4 professional marks are also part of this 50 marks question. So technically, it is a 46 marks question where 4 marks are available as professional marks, which is for writing the answer in a briefing note. So it's 46 technical marks and 4 professional marks, making up the first question of 50 marks. Moving on to the next one. Section B. The Section B of the paper has 2 25 marks question. one of which will be predominantly set at the completion and reporting stage of the audit. So one of the question in section B will be at the stage of completion and reporting. It can be question number 2, or it can be question number 3. In lots of exam setting, we have seen the question number 2 as the completion and reporting question. And in lots of exam setting, we have seen the question 3 as a completion and reporting question. So examiner is saying one of the question in section B will predominantly be set at the stage of completion and reporting. We know reporting is a crucial area of your 100 marks paper. Planning is a crucial area of a 100 marks paper. And then you come downwards. The remaining questions can be taken from any syllabus area. So they can be taken from any syllabus area. Now tell me, which 2 syllabus areas are the most important when you look at this particular paper format? Which 2 syllabus areas are the more important ones? Number 1, planning. Number 2, completion and reporting. So these are the 2 most important syllabus areas, because one of the question will be set at the stage of planning, and one of the question will be set at the stage of completion and reporting. So which 2 are the most important syllabus areas then? Planning, completion and reporting. I hope you're all clear on that, right? Right. Thank you so much for that confirmation, students. Okay, moving onwards. Look at the syllabus now of the AAA and try to connect the syllabus of the AAA with the paper, which you just understood, that the paper consists of 150 marks question and 225 marks question. Let's see, how is the syllabus connecting with the AAA paper? Section A, we just had a word on section A, right? So section A is a question number 1, and question number 1 comes from the syllabus area D. D is planning and the audit of the historical financial statement. So that is exactly what the examiner was telling us, that it is set predominantly at the planning stage. So syllabus area D is very, very important because it comes in the first question. And look at this, will only be tested in question 1. So syllabus area D will not come in any other question. Syllabus area D will only come in question number 1, will only come in question number 1. So can you find syllabus area D in question number 2? Never. Can you find syllabus area D in question number 3? Never. It will only come in question number 1. Move on. Section B. We just decided that in section B, there are 2 questions of 25 marks, and syllabus area E. Examiner was saying one of the question in the section B will be from syllabus area completion and reporting. So syllabus area completion and reporting is basically the syllabus area E, completion and reporting. And one of the question in the section B has to be from it. So just like D, E is also very important. And look at the syllabus area F, which is other assignments. Now, when you look at the examiner guidance, examiner is very clear that the syllabus area E and the syllabus area F will only be tested in question 2 and 3. You cannot find syllabus area E coming in question number 1. You cannot find the syllabus area F coming in question number 1, just like you cannot find the syllabus area D coming in question number 2 and 3. So are you very clear with the some of the very important areas in your syllabus? Syllabus area D is very important. Syllabus area E is very important because one of the question in section B has to be from completion and reporting. Syllabus area F, other assignments, always comes in section B, right? Will always come in section B, but not necessarily every time you get a question on other assignments. On completion and reporting, in every single exam setting, you will get a question on completion and reporting. Is that clear to all of you? In every single exam setting, you will get a question on completion and reporting, but not necessarily you get a question on other assignments in every single exam setting. But whenever other assignments will come, in which section other assignments will come? In which section other assignment will come? Only in section B. They cannot come in section A. So now tell me, which are three important syllabus areas now? At least which we know are important and are major part of section A and section B. Three syllabus areas, right? D, E, F. Very good answer, Sharon. D, E, F. Now look at the other syllabus areas. A, B, C. Now examiner is saying the syllabus area A, B, C can be tested anywhere in the paper. Syllabus area A, syllabus area B, syllabus area C can come anywhere in the paper. They can come in question 1, they can come in 2, they can come in 3, they can come anywhere in the paper, right? A is the regulatory environment, which is the knowledge area. B is the ethical and professional issues. You know how important the ethical and professional issues are, right? Examiner is so fond of testing them in almost every single exam paper. In quality control, we have seen a lot of questions on quality control in past papers. We've seen a lot of practice management questions, accepting a new client or accepting an engagement from an existing client in the recent past papers as well. So syllabus area A, B, C, they can be anywhere in the paper. D, E, F, they're very defined. A, B, C, they're very flexible. So 3 syllabus areas are fixed, 3 syllabus areas are flexible. And comes to the last syllabus area, which is known as the syllabus area G, which is known as the current issues. Current issues only examined when an examining team writes an article. Is there any current issue on which the examining team has written an article for December 21 exams? So far, no. Examining team has written articles on current issues in the previous exam sittings, but for the December exams, there is currently no article on current issues yet. But over the course of the next 5 days, if any article is published, then I will be discussing that with you in the webinar. So currently, syllabus area G is a current issue, and current issue only comes when an examining team writes an article. So far for the December 21 exam, that is a big cross. Is everyone clear with the syllabus? So technically, we have 6 syllabus areas if we ignore the syllabus area G. And in the 6 syllabus areas, 3 are very defined, D, E, F, and 3 are undefined, A, B, C. So is everyone clear what comes in question number 1, syllabus area D, what comes in question 2 and 3? One of the question has to be from completion and reporting in 2 and 3, and one can be from anywhere. It can be other assignments, it can be ABC, it could be anything, right? Is everyone sound and clear on syllabus versus the AAA paper? Can we move on? Okay, thank you so much. If you have any particular question, please note it down on a pen and paper and ask me in the last 15 minutes when you have an opportunity of a Q&A session with a tutor. But currently, you can just be with the yes and no's. Okay, now moving onwards from the syllabus versus the AAA paper. Let's look at the agenda of the webinar. Now, when you look at the agenda of the webinar over the next 5 days, it's very important you know exactly what I will be discussing with you in this webinar so you can plan yourself accordingly. Now, when I was working on the agenda for the December 21 webinar, I was just concerned about what I should be discussing, because there are so many of my webinars which are available on YouTube and Vimeo, and I hope you all have access to those webinars I do for every exam setting, whether it is March, June, September, now even for December. So I was very confused exactly what I should be discussing, which is important towards December 21 exams and which gives you better exam confidence. So I thought that in this webinar, I should be discussing very specifically with you a study planner for the first time, how you should be studying for the next 30 days. I should also be discussing with you the recent changes which came from September 21 paper and the changes which came from September 21 paper which are applicable onwards. So you should be aware of the changes and how the changes will impact your paper. I will be discussing something about the practice platform for you, because there are a lot of misconceptions students have about practice platform. So I need to mitigate them as well through my session. I will be discussing business risk and the risk of material misstatement in my webinar to success this time. I will be discussing the ethical, professional, and quality control issues with a recent paper in my webinar. I will be discussing audit report questions from the recent papers in my webinar, and I will be discussing the question on due diligence and audit of performance information, which is basically the syllabus area F other assignments. So this is what I thought of and finalized as a formal agenda of this webinar to success. Let's see how I will break this over the next 5 days. Now, over the next 5 days on your screen, this is how I will be looking at things. On the day one, which is today, I will be looking at a study planner. I will be looking at the recent changes in the AAA paper, and I will be looking at the awareness about the practice platform and the blank workspace. Today's session is very important because the session today will guide you about the right confidence you need to pass the AAA paper. So if you miss the day today, you are not getting the right approach to pass the AAA paper. The day two is very particular about business risk and risk of material misstatement and practice. Day three is very particular about ethical, professional, and quality control issues. Day four is very particular about an audit report question. And day five is very particular about due diligence and audit of performance information. And on the day five also, we are focusing on exam tips and techniques. So this is the agenda of the 5 days on your screen, so you can plan yourself accordingly. Right? Okay, moving on. Let's start the day one. Now, for day one, the very first thing I need to discuss with you, and very, very important, is the right study planner. Today is the 8th of November. And on the 6th of December, you have your exam paper. So if we just take an approximation, we have just 1 month. What is the right study planner for the next 1 month? That is a big question. Because if you don't have the right study planner on your table, you are messing up with your AAA December 21 exams, and you might get to a failure status again. So to be successful, you need a right study planner. You can change my study planner according to your own circumstances, but let's set in place a good looking study planner for December 21 exams. I hope you're all ready for this right study planner for December 21 exams, because a lot of questions have come to me in the last 10 days asking me, how should we study? How should we study in the last 30 days? Now, there was loads and loads of questions I received over the Facebook, over the WhatsApp, and over the email. How should we study? How should we study? So I thought, let's give you a very good answer to this by a right study approach. Let's start the right study approach. Frequently asked questions, which prompted me to discuss with you the right study approach. And some of these frequently asked questions, you will agree, might be in your mindset as well. Some of the frequently asked questions I got in the last 10 days from students are, how should I go about studying for AAA paper right at this time when I am 30 days away from exam? This was the most frequently asked question I got on WhatsApp in the last 10 days. And I hope you all agree with this question. This is the most important question which students continuously to raise now. What should I do? What should I do now in 30 days? Should the webinars and previous practice to pass sessions enough to pass? That is another question I really get almost every day, that if we watch your webinar and your practice to pass, will we pass the AAA paper? Now, that's quite a tricky question. Then the other question I get from the student is, how much time should I be giving daily from now onwards? So from now onwards, how much time should I be giving daily? That's another very common question I've been getting through almost daily. Which resources should I be using and why? What should I be doing? Should I be reading the books? Should I not be reading the books? What resources should I be using and why? Should I read books? Should I do all past papers? Should I evaluate the examiner answer? Should I read the examiner answers? Now, to me, these are the most frequently asked questions which I got on my WhatsApp, and I noted them down. On my email, and on my Facebook. So I thought we should discuss this together. Do you all agree that some of these questions on your screen are also in your mindset? If you agree, can you just put it in the chat box, agree or disagree? Any one of the question which matches your mindset? Any one of the question which you think you need to ask me today? Okay, so that's great. So did I read the mind of the students well ahead of this webinar? Okay, that's great. Let's go down and let's start discussing the answers to these questions. Now, the first question is amazing. And a student asked me, 30 days away, what should I do? And that's quite a difficult question to answer. When I sat down before this webinar to search for a very good answer to what you should do in the 30 days, this is what I got from my perspective. Need of a self-appraisal. First, today, on the 8th of November, you should spend some time on your self-appraisal. That is very, very important. There might be students who are giving AAA for the first time. There might be students who are repeating the AAA paper. There might be students who have flunked the AAA paper for 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Every one of you is different. There might be a student who is doing a self-study. There might be a student who's taking classes from an approved learning provider. There might be a student who is just relying on the webinars. And there might be a student who is a job-going student. And there might be a student who is a full-time student. So there could be so much diversity among all of you, right? Now, when there is so much diversity, you need to sit down and realize, where am I standing today? You need to self-appraise yourself today. Look at this word here. You need to self-appraise yourself today, not tomorrow. Where are you standing today in terms of your exam preparation? Ask this question to yourself, everyone. Now, where are you standing today? This is your self-appraisal. Now, where are you standing today? And what's your target? What's your target? 6th of December, 100% ready. How would you ensure you're 100% ready by the 6th of December? You need to find the variance. Are you 20% ready today? Are you 25% ready today? Are you 30% ready today? How much ready you are? And how much ready you should be by the 6th of December? 100%. So find the gap yourself, everyone. I hope you agree with my first bullet, right? Is that extremely important, the bullet number 1? The bullet number 2. Now look ahead. Where are you today? Now look ahead. You still have 30 days. That is 4 weeks. How would you go about utilizing them? Big question. You still have 4 weeks, right? And 4 weeks can play a crucial part in your success and failure. If you spoil these 4 weeks, you are a failure. If you utilize these 4 weeks, you are a successful student in December 21 exams. How would you utilize the 30 days? You are job going student. You have very less time. You can only study on weekends. You are a full-time student. You can study every day. You are a freelancer. You are a self-employed. You are employed. There can be different categories of student attending this webinar today, right? So you need to look ahead for the next 30 days, what you should do. I will be giving you suggestions for next 30 days shortly. Next, consider your challenges, constraints, and obstacles. Every one of you have some challenges, constraints, and obstacles. No human being is without challenges, constraints, and obstacles. I hope you agree with me. You might have job pressures. You might have family pressures. You might have pressure of studying and jobs together. You might have a pressure because you have failed AAA so many times. You might be giving 2 papers plus a job. Very good answer. So every one of you have a challenge, constraint, and an obstacle. You know your obstacles, right? You know your constraints, right? You know your challenges, right? Put them down, that these are my limitations. I cannot study in the morning. I cannot study in the night. I can only study in the afternoon. I can only study on the weekends. When I used to study as a student, I could never study in the nights because I literally go to sleep. I used to study early in the morning because that was for me the best time. Every one of you have some constraints, right? So will you consider your challenges, constraints, and obstacles, everyone? Is that a logical bullet number 3 for your self-appraisal, everyone? And you have to do this today, right? Today, not tomorrow. Next. Set a timetable, and I will be helping you with that today. Set a timetable. Set a timetable. Divide the timetable in 4 weeks. Divide the timetable in 4 weeks and assign priorities. What should you do first? What you should do last, based upon your self-appraisal. See, I will give you a timetable today, but that will differ from your timetable because you have your own obstacles, you have your own challenges, you have your own constraints. Where you are today is different from another student. What are your priorities is different from another student. So will every one of you have a timetable different? Yes, but I will give you a standard timetable and you will change that according to your circumstances. Agree or disagree? But you cannot just say, okay, the timetable given by the tutor is the best. No, because I don't understand your obstacles. I don't know your constraints. I don't know your limitations. So do everyone recognize that a need of a self-appraisal is important? Why you failed in the last exam, need of a self-appraisal is important, right? Why you flunked 5 times in the AAA paper, need of a self-appraisal is important. So please ensure you carry out a self-appraisal today before you sit down to study and make a timetable for the next 4 weeks. Must remember, more time on practice is crucial in these last 4 weeks for you to pass. This is an advice from me. When you're making a timetable, please ensure the more time you spend on practice in the last 4 weeks is crucial for you to pass. What you can learn from practice, you cannot even learn from books. And I will just be guiding you upon that in my session day 1 today. What you can learn from practice, you cannot even learn them from the books. So more time should be spent on the papers. And I will just make you realizable of that shortly. Next, move on. Right study approach. Now, this is my suggestion. You have to do your self-appraisal, right? Do it today. Now, once you've done your self-appraisals, make a right study approach. But this is my suggestion as a tutor. With my experience of AAA, I just want to set you a right study approach, and you can just change it according to your circumstances. Is that clear to all of you? Okay, let's look at what is a right study approach. Number 1, knowledge. Number 2, practice. Now, I was carefully evaluating before the start of the webinar today that when we suggest to students that this is the right study approach, as a tutor, I should not be missing something important from it, because I don't want you to be underprepared. When I was looking at the knowledge parameter, I believe there are 3 important things which I will make you realize shortly in knowledge. Number 1 is the examining team articles. I will be shedding light on each one of them in my presentation. Don't worry about it. And you will be amazed in the next 30 minutes. Knowledge, examining team articles. Number 2, the revision of the accounting standards. How much time you should be giving to that in the next 30 days. Watch the previous webinars. How much time you should be giving to watching the previous webinars. Knowledge. So knowledge articles, knowledge accounting, knowledge webinars. You need to have a good amount of knowledge. Now you need to understand where you are standing today for knowledge. What is the gap? Conduct a self-appraisal for knowledge, each one of you. What is your knowledge self-appraisal today? Where are you standing in terms of knowledge today? The next thing, where are you standing today for practice? Where are you standing today for practice? Right? Practicing the past papers, number 1, on the platform. Practicing the past paper on the platform. critically review the marking schemes, and critically review the examiner reports. Now, these are three fundamentals for practice. There are three fundamentals for knowledge. Look at three bullets under knowledge. Look at the three bullets under practice and tell me, honestly, where are you standing today? Out of the 6 bullets, how many you have done so far? Tell me 4 out of 6, 2 out of 6, 1 out of 6. Tell me, honestly. Tell me your self-appraisal quickly. You have 1 minute, all of you. 1 out of 6, 2 out of 6, how much? Okay. Let's see who touched the highest. Okay, very good. O'Brien is saying 5. Wonderful. It's going quickly off from me, so I cannot just pick up the names of you. Osama is saying 5 out of 6. Wonderful. Hamza, 4 to 5. Wonderful. Okay, so those of you who are at 3, 4, you are on the right track. 1, 2, pace up. Nothing is impossible. 30 days, you can have a 360-degree change. So be prepared for this. Now, this is the benefit of a self-appraisal. 3 things under knowledge, 3 things under practice. Now let's go one by one into every aspect of knowledge. Then let's go every aspect of practice. Are you all ready to start one by one knowledge and one by one practice before I give you the right timetable? Let's go deep inside knowledge. Then let's go deep inside practice. And I would request all of you one thing: keep a paper with you. And when I'm discussing the knowledge with you, and when I'm discussing the practice with you, try to appraise yourself where you are as of the 8th of November. And just let's get to the knowledge part quickly. Knowledge. Let's see how important knowledge is for December 21 exams. From where will you recover your knowledge in this shortest span of time? What you should be focusing on for knowledge? Let's discuss everything about it. Knowledge. Examining team articles is the first source of a wonderful knowledge. I'm not saying books. Nowhere in my knowledge was books. Have you seen books in my knowledge anywhere? No. So have you got an answer to your question? Should I read books? Probably, right? Quite a diplomatic answer, but I hope you didn't find books anywhere in my knowledge, right? I'm directly coming to examining team articles. Try to understand this. Visit the web page of the AAA articles. You will be getting these presentations on the WhatsApp group, right? So you can just use these hyperlinks in the next couple of hours. Visit the web page for the AAA articles, this web page given in front. And when you click on this, you will reach the web page where you have the technical articles available for AAA. I'll just be showing you that shortly. When you reach this web page, there are total 31 articles as of today. Just before entering the webinar, I checked it. There are 31 web articles which are there on the web page for you, which are divided into 2 parts. I have divided them into 2 parts, right? There is a list of 31 on the web page. I've divided them into 2 parts. 1, exam technique articles, and number 2, technical articles. Now, when you go to the web page, I will just be showing you that in the next 1 minute. On the web page, there are 31 articles divided into 2 parts: exam technique articles and technical articles. When you look at the exam technique articles, total 5. Just let me clear it off. Total 5 named as part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. These are the first 5 on the web page. So the first 5 articles on the web page which you will see will be what? Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. Which articles are them? Technique articles, the first 5. And after the first 5, from number 6 to number 31, what are the articles? From number 6 to number 31, what are the articles? Technical articles. In total, 26. Start right after the last exam technique article, which is part 5. So the first 5 articles, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, is the technique articles. From the number 6th article onwards to 31, you have all the technical articles. So 26 technical articles, 5 technique articles. That makes a list of 31. Now, let's do something amazing on these 31 articles, because I know the next question you will be asking, which of these articles I should be reading. Now look at this on your screen. Can you all see a Word file in front of your screen, which says day 1? Can you all see this Word file in front of your screen? Okay, you will be getting this Word file on the WhatsApp group once I end the webinar today. Within the next 30 minutes of the end of the webinar, this will be on the WhatsApp group. So you can download it and take a printout. So everything I will write on the Word file will be given to you. So don't worry about it, right? Just focus. The presentation will be shared with you. Don't worry about it. Now, I just copied the articles on my Word file, the 31 articles. And I've given the hyperlink of this web page here. Can you all see the hyperlink here or at the top here? So you will click on this hyperlink and you will reach the articles, right? 31 articles. Now, the first article you will find on the web page is a technique article, exam technique, exam technique, exam technique, exam technique, exam technique. The first article is the techniques about ethics. The second is technique about risk. The third is a technique about accounting issues, how you write accounting issues in the AAA paper. The fourth is about how you write a procedure. And the fifth is about how you write a good reporting answer in the AAA paper. So the first 5 articles are the technique articles. Can you see this, everyone? So these first 5 articles is focused on techniques. What does technique means? How to write a good answer. How to write a good answer. So this is not a knowledge article, right? This is a technique article. So it is mandatory on all of you to read the technique articles because they're covering the core areas of ethics, risk, accounting issues, procedures, and reporting. Do you all agree these are critical areas of AAA? Ethics, risk, accounting issues, audit procedures, and the last one, audit reporting. So do you like to know the right techniques to write an answer on ethics, the right techniques to write an answer on risk, the right techniques to write an answer on accounting issues, which comes in the AAA paper? And you will be amazed if you've not ever read them. Because when you read them, the examiner will give you examples. The examiner will give you examples of the past papers and tell you this is how you should write. If you have not seen them yet, please do see them. They're not new articles, right? They have been old articles. But these are 5 must articles out of 31 exam techniques article, right? So should we just refer them as technique article here on my Word file as well? Just give me 1 minute. So I can categorize it for you, right? Let's put them as technique articles. So when you take a printout, you know, okay, these are the technique articles which I have to read over the next 30 days. Okay, can you all see the bifurcation? Okay, the next articles are known as technical articles. Now, when you go to the website, when the exam technique articles are over, the next article you will find after the exam technique article is what? Technical articles. So total 31 minus 5. How many technical articles we have? 26. 26, right? Now I've put them in order, right? This is exactly the order you will see on the website. So right after the last technique article, the next article you will see is risk and understanding the entity. Now let me first cancel the articles which you should not read at all, right? So number 6, you will read it. Number 7, you will read it. Number 8, you will read it. Number 9, you will read it. Number 10, you will read it. Number 11, evaluation of misstatement. Just let me cross it off. You cannot waste your time on this for your December exams. You will get nothing out of it. Responding to NOCLA, yes, please do read that. Corporate governance and its impact on audit practice. You can just ignore it for December exams. Auditing disclosures, please do read it on the safe side. Performance information, read it. Laws and regulations, you've already done NOCLA, so remove the laws and regulations from here. So you will get the purpose done in the article number 12. Professional skepticism, please do read this using the work of internal auditors, read it. Auditor liability, just read it. Control environment, ignore it, cross it off. Completing the audit, okay, read it. Specific aspects of a computer-based environment, delete it. Some of them are quite old, right? Going concern, okay, read it. That's an important area. Audit risk, ignore it because you will already cover the risk in the part 2. So no need to read this article, just delete it off. Audit in a computer-based environment, just delete it off. This was more relevant to the AA paper. Massaging the figures and ISA 240. You can do one of them because both are written for fraud. So I think the better one for fraud is ISA 240. So just ignore massaging the figures. Read ISA 240. Forensic audit, please read it. Auditor report to those charged with governance, please read it. It's important. And just don't need to spend time on the last 2 articles. Cross them off. So see how many articles I've just crossed for you. Now, how many I'll be left with from 26 if I just count them up? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 articles you have to read. 10 is what I've crossed off, right? So total technical articles are 16. You should read 16 which are not strike through, I hope you understand the meaning of the word strike through, right? Which are not strike through. The one which are strike through, ignore them. So 16 articles over the next how many days? 16 articles over the next 30 days, right? Difficult? Not at all. Even one article a day with 5 technique articles, 16 plus 5, 21 articles in 21 days. Good. What's so bad about it? So please ensure you read these articles. Now, when I go to specific sections on day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, if I'm doing a topic and there is an article of the topic, I will be reinforcing it. Suppose tomorrow on day 2, I'm discussing risk. So if there is any article with risk, I will be just highlighting that with you in the session. So again and again, you will get the reinforcement, right? But is everyone clear with this list of articles? How many are they in total? 31. Out of 31, 5 are exam technique articles. You are left with 26. Now in the 26, I've just crossed some of them which are not at all important and will not give you any benefits. But I've tried keeping 16 of them in my list, which will definitely be important and are on the topics which come regularly in the 100 marks paper. So will this list help you all? Tell me, is this a helpful list to all of you of the articles? Is that a frequently asked question from the students, which articles to read? Can you kindly give us a list of the articles we should be reading? I really do get these messages on WhatsApp, right? Which articles to read, which articles to read. So will you take a printout of this file once you get it? And will you stick to this? Now, once you read an article, just take a pen and say tick, tick. Keep ticking the articles, and in the next 21 days, you will be done with these 21 articles. So please visit the website where you have the technical articles available, right? Just let me show you the website where the technical articles are available for AAA. Can you see this on your screen now? The technical articles webpage on your screen? Yes. Okay. So that's where you have the articles, right? Can you see the first 5 articles? Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. So these are technique articles, right? But after the part 5, can you see the risk and understanding the entity, which is a 6th article, and you go down, down, down. I've just taken the right order on my Word file. So I've just taken the right order on my Word file. That is the right order, right? So I hope this will help you. Okay, just let me go back to my presentation now. We were exploring the articles. Now try to understand the importance of articles. They're really, really important. If you read these 21 articles, sorry, out of the 31, which I've just recommended you, you will have the right exam rigor because you are going in the mindset of the examiner, right? So if you want to get to the right mindset of the examiner, not the book, BPP and Kaplan, the right way is the articles. So is everyone clear with examining team articles and the division between technical and technique articles? Is everyone clear which articles are you reading and how much time you have to read so, right? Thank you. Next, knowledge. Second thing for knowledge, revision of accounting knowledge. I hope you all agree that accounting knowledge plays a crucial part in your success in AAA paper. And that is why it is recommended that either you do SBR paper before the AAA paper, or you do the SBR paper right with the AAA paper, because you need the right accounting knowledge. So to pass the AAA paper, you should have a sound accounting knowledge from the SBR paper. Now, do a self-appraisal. How many of you are giving the SBR paper with the AAA paper? How many of you have given the SBR paper in the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? And where are you standing in terms of your accounting knowledge? Has your accounting knowledge faded? Do you still have the accounting knowledge? Do you still need to revise an accounting knowledge? Every one of you will have a different answer to your self-appraisal. But some of the sources from where you can have an excellent revision of an accounting knowledge, I've tried putting them on my presentation. Number one source is the CBD box. Just 1 minute, sorry. One is the CPD box channel on the YouTube. So you go to the YouTube, there is a CPD box channel. I have given the hyperlink. So once you get the presentation, you can go there. And they have amazing videos on accounting standards for 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. I think the maximum stretch of a video is 15 minutes, 1-5, and you can revise the standard. Which one is difficult for you? Not all. Some of the standards you might be very good at, right? The second source of revision is the last chapter of the Kaplan book and the BPP book. Wonderful. When you go to the last chapters of the Kaplan and BPP book, they have given you a financial reporting summaries or revision. So you can just read the last chapter of the Kaplan book or the BPP book. That's the second way you can learn the accounting knowledge too. Third source, examiner answers. Wonderful. You can go into the examiner answers when you're solving them. Suppose you're solving a question and there is an accounting treatment and you get stuck and you don't know what's the accounting treatment here or how to write this accounting treatment. Go and see the examiner answer. The examiner will give you a detailed accounting treatment with the name of the accounting standard, with the number of the accounting standard, and he will tell you everything about it. Examiner writes a lot lengthy answers just for the sake of a tutorial guidance. You are not writing that lengthy answers, right? For you, you are writing one accounting treatment for 1 mark, and 1 mark means maximum stretch of an accounting treatment can be 4 to 5 sentences maximum. Some of the accounting standards can even be 2 to 3 sentences. The lengthy accounting standards can be 4 to 5 sentences maximum. But examiner answers are very good because they're written at length a lot just for the guidance sake. And you can just read the answer of that accounting standard from the examiner answer, and you can just make a summary. So if you are clever, examiner answers can be helpful. But if you are just visiting the examiner answers for getting, oh, this is how much I have to write, that's wrong. Because so many students visit the examiner answer just to see how long to write. That is absolutely wrong. Because if you are getting a motivation that this is the much I have to write, you will fail. So please understand, you need to have a cleverness when you are visiting the examiner answer. Even if I visit the examiner answer as a tutor, I just see, okay, how the examiner wrote the treatment. And I just summarize the treatment. So you can learn things from the examiner answers, right? I hope you're getting my point here. Is everyone clear with the point number 3 in the accounting knowledge? Okay, great. Point number 4. There is an exam technique article. You just saw this exam technique article, right? Exam technique article part 3. And in the part 3 exam technique article, examiner has written this on accounting issues, and two accounting standards have been covered. 36 on impairment and 38 on intangibles. So at least you can revise IS 36 and IS 38 from the examiner article part 3. So examiner article part 3 is good, 36 and 38. And you should remember IS 36, IS 37 and IS 38 are very popular standards with examiner, So revision of an accounting knowledge. Is everyone clear? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you need to choose which source is best for you, but you have to do a self-appraisal. You have to do a self-appraisal. Where are you standing? I just want to give you one relevance here quickly on my Word file. Can you all see the Word file back on screen for day 1? Okay, thank you. Just see what I'm writing for you now. This is very, very important for all of you. Okay, I think you are still looking at the Word file, right? Okay, see what I'm writing here. Key accounting standards. Key accounting standards in the AAA paper. Key means the one which comes very regular. I'm not saying that these are the only one you should be preparing. No, you should prepare all the accounting standards you have in the SPR syllabus, but these are the key ones. Let's see what are the key accounting standards. Where you should be sound at. Just give me 1 second. Okay, key accounting standards, right? Now, when you look at the key accounting standards, the one which comes on a very regular basis, as per my observation, first of all, IS 36, 37, and 38. I think these are the most common one, and examiner always tells that these are the regular standards of your paper, 36, 37, 38. Then, if you look at the last few papers of AAA, the IFRS 2, which is on the share-based payment, comes a lot. IFRS 15, which is on revenue recognition, that is quite a key standard. It comes on a very regular basis, the IFRS 15. Then you have IS 20, which is on the government grant. It comes on a very regular basis. IS 16, the capital and revenue expenditure, the classifications of capital and revenue expenditure has been a very common phenomena in the past paper. IS 21, the foreign currency transaction is a very common phenomena. IS 24, related party transaction. I'm trying to write the key one, right? IFRS 16 is part of your syllabus. IS 19 is part of your syllabus. These are every standard is part of your syllabus, right? Usama and Hamza, I cannot write every one of them. I'm just trying to focus on the key one. The key one means which repeats a lot, right? Let me write it over here. The most repetitive ones in AAA. I hope that is a better heading, right? So the most repetitive ones are IS 36, 37, 38, IFRS 2 and 15, IS 20, 16, 21, 24. And the goodwill, IFRS 3. These are the most common ones, right? So at least ensure you get over with these in the next 5 days. Is that clear? And do the rest after. In the next 5 days, at least try to get over with them in the next 5 days. Is everyone clear with this? Don't take a message wrong from me. I'm not saying these are the important one for December 21 exams. Am I saying that? Am I saying these are important for December 21 exams? No. I'm saying these are the one which are repetitive one in AAA. So some of them might repeat even in December 21 exams, right? Okay, let's go back to the presentation for accounting knowledge. Is everyone clear on the revision of accounting knowledge? Can we move on to the third aspect of knowledge? Okay, the third final aspect of the knowledge is watch the previous webinars. Now, a lot of students ask me which previous webinars we watch. For December 21, alongside my webinar to success, which you are currently in, you should watch 3 previous practice to pass sessions of mine, which was held in March 21, June 21, and September 21. See this, June 21, March 21, and September 21. I've given you the hyperlinks of them, so you can just click on them once you get this presentation and you can watch them. 3. Now, depends again on your self-appraisal. If you are already taking classes from a college, no need to watch them. Just this webinar to success will be fine. If you're doing a self-study, then I would recommend that you go with the 3 previous practice to pass sessions on your screen along with the webinar to success. So, and if you are a student who have already taken these webinars in the previous attempts and you're still not getting through, then just only concentrate on this webinar to success, right? So again, there will be a different story with every student. But as per the standard answer, watch previous webinars, 3 of them, right? Is that clear to all of you? Okay, I can share notes of these webinars as well with you on the WhatsApp group. Don't worry about it. So if you need the notes of the previous webinars, March 21, June 21, and September 21, I will definitely be sharing them on the WhatsApp group. So nothing to worry about, right? As a tutor, I'm there to support you. As much resources I have with me, I can share that with you, right? So I hope you're relaxed with it now. So is everyone clear with the knowledge? How to go about knowledge? What are three good things in knowledge? Number 1, the articles. Number 2, the accounting. Number 3, the previous webinars. Okay, how much articles we need to read in total, everyone? How much articles we need to read in total? 21. Actually, how many articles are there? 31. Okay. How many previous webinars we need to watch? Ideally, 3. Good. And what about accounting standards? How many key accounting standards are there? Has anyone counted the number of key accounting standards? 10. Okay, 10. Some mostly are saying 10. Okay, 10 key accounting standards. Good. Okay, now move on. Before we get to the break, practice. You cannot set a good timetable for the next 30 days without practice. So for the next 30 days, knowledge. For the next 30 days, practice. But let's be assured what comes in practice before I give you the right timetable and we take the very first break of the webinar. Is everyone ready for the discussion on practice? The second aspect for your success in AAA paper? Okay, let's start the journey on practice. Okay, the very first thing on practice, practicing past papers on the practice platform. I hope you all know that the AAA exam is a computer-based exam globally now. In almost in every country of the world, we have a computer-based exams for AAA. So how many of you are already preparing yourself on the practice platform? How many of you are giving time to the practice platform? Honestly, tell me. Is there any student who will still say no at this time, that I'm still not using the practice platform? Can you just say using, not using? In your message, using, not using? Okay. And those of you who are saying not using, when will you start using it? On the 5th of December, on the 4th of December, when? Please have a timetable, right? You should sooner come to the platform. So those of you who are using it on a daily basis, amazing, right? But those of you who aren't, probably you will get the motivation today, right? Let's start with the practice platform. You need to use the practice platform as much as possible. I've already covered the importance of the platform on my day 1 of the September 21 webinar. And I've already covered the importance of the practice platform on the day 1 of the June webinar. I'll just write it down that for you so you can go and watch it, right? So you need to use the practice platform as much as possible in the last 30 days before your exams to gain the right confidence over the interface of the platform, the features, the commands, and how to improve efficiency. See, the more time you spend on the platform, it will give you efficiency, right? Before your actual exam, you will understand the interface of the platform. You will understand the features of the platform. You will understand the commands of the platform, which is so very important for you. Now, I have done it in my June 21 webinar and the September 21 webinar. And from tomorrow onwards, when I do the actual drill of the past paper, I will be doing it again. So I will be guiding you a lots of do's and don'ts every day about the platform. So day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and you will become refined on the platform. Is that clear to all of you? So over the next 4 days, we'll be using the platform. I will be guiding you every day some techniques of the platform. So every day you will learn some techniques. Okay. On the practice platform, following papers are available. How many papers are available on the platform? They have divided papers into 3 parts. One is known as the past exam library. So when you click on the past exam library on the platform, there are 2 papers available: September, December 20 and the March, June 21. These are the 2 latest papers. Then there is a section on the platform, practice exams. When you click on the practice exams, there are 3 practice exams available: practice exam 1, practice exam 2, and practice exam 3. I've just put against them that actually the practice exam is from which exam sitting. Practice exam 1 is basically the September 18 paper. The practice exam 2 is basically the December 18 paper. And the practice exam 3 is basically the March, June 19 paper. And then there is 1 specimen exam available. So in total, how many questions are there on the platform? 6. So at least you can practice these 6 questions on the platform, which ACCA has made available for you. September 18, December 18, March, June 19, then the December 20 paper and the June 21 paper. So these are 6 papers available, which you can practice on the platform. Right. So over the next 4 days, I'll be using the platform. I'll be drilling the questions using the word processor, where possible, the spreadsheet. I will be telling you, is spreadsheet usable in the AAA paper or not? How you use the word processor? What should be an ideal typing speed? There might be lots of questions you have about the platform, but that will be addressed on a daily basis starting from tomorrow. Is that clear to all of you? So I'll have a daily drill on the platform starting tomorrow. Is that clear? Okay, great. Currently, my focus is just to give you an idea that when you are practicing, you should practice on the platform, right? Next, 6 papers on the practice platform, right? ACCA practice platform for the AAA, its overview and benefits. What are some of the benefits of this practice platform, which I will be sharing every day with you, but just trying to make a summary of it. You need to log into the practice platform. I hope you all know that through your My ACCA login. So through your My ACCA login, you log into the practice platform, which is this. Go to the catalog, choose the AAA paper, and under the resource, choose the paper you want to attempt by pressing the assigned button and start it. Become familiar with the workspace you will see on the day of exam. That is very, very important. Move around the workspace, understand how to read through it, options available on the workspace. How would you annotate using the functionalities like a highlighter, like a scratch pad, calculator, etc. Will you be using the calculator on the screen? Will you have your own calculator? That's a frequently asked question. Is there any benefit of using a scratch pad? Should I directly write on the word processor? These are all the questions which I will be mitigating over the next 4 days. How to use the highlighter? How to annotate? How should I read? Should I start from the question number 1? Should I start from the question number 2? I hope these are all common questions which I'm raising with all of you. So all the answers to these questions comes tomorrow over the next 4 days. Understand how to manage multiple windows. At times, student opens lots of windows on the workspace. What is the ideal number of windows to be in front of your screen? And how to keep workspace tidy and effective use. See, even at home, when I'm using a laptop or you are using a laptop, if we open too many windows on a laptop, it becomes quite messy, right? So how many windows can one person easily manage? Right. So such answers are coming over the next 4 days, right? I hope you foresee the next 4 days, because every day I will be using the practice platform. So don't worry about it. I'll tell you how to log in. I'll tell you how to use it. Every basic functionalities will be discussed, right? Understand the benefit of copy paste, how to use it. Do ACs recommend copy paste? To what extent ACs recommend it? Because there has been concerns of the examiner that the student copy a lot. What is the limit to copy and paste? How should you go about copy pasting? That's very important. The functionality of redo, the functionality of formatting, and the speed. So we'll be discussing all about formatting, speed, how you redo, undo, functionalities of the computer exams, right? And copy paste. What is the criticism of the examiner with copy paste? That all comes over the next 4 days. So is everyone clear with what is in front of your screen now? Simran, all questions about platform over the next 4 days, right? So if you have any questions about platform, please hold them for the next 4 days. Thank you. But is everyone clear with what I just discussed with you? So are you all ready for the next 4 days to understand the right exam rigor from the practice platform? So I'm not showing you the practice platform today because over the next 4 days, I have kept a good time for it. Okay, next. Blank workspace. If any question is not available, on the platform, how many questions are there on the platform? 6. So suppose if you're practicing a December 14 paper or a June 16 paper, or you're practicing a practicing December 17 paper, that's not available on the platform. But at least you can do it on the blank workspace. I will be showing you the blank workspace tomorrow. I will be showing you the benefits of the blank workspace tomorrow, because blank workspace is exactly a mirror image of your real computer-based exam. And you can use the blank workspace, you can use the word processor, you can use the spreadsheet to improve your typing speeds. So every time you write an answer, you can write your answer even in the blank workspace if that question is not available on the platform. Suppose you're doing a question from a revision kit, which is not available on the platform, at least you can write an answer of that on the blank workspace. So you can attempt any question from the revision kit or from the past paper available in PDF format on the blank workspace. So if that is not available on the practice platform, it's available on the PDF format, you can just do it right on the blank workspace. The more you work on blank workspace, you gain confidence of becoming familiar with the workspace, its functionalities, and gain command and speed ahead of your exams. So over the next 4 days, blank workspace, actual workspace, functionalities, speed, and frequently asked questions on the platform comes tomorrow and over the next 4 days, sorry. Blank workspace allow you to work on a word processor and spreadsheets. How much usage of spreadsheet in the AAA exam? I will be addressing that tomorrow. How much is the usage of spreadsheet in the AAA exam? Should we use it? Should we not use it? Okay, is everyone clear with the practice platform? How much time you should be giving to the practice platform over the next 30 days? I will just be coming to that in a summary shortly, but we are moving away from the practice platform into the next element of practice. Now, when you are practicing the past paper on the platform, this is something which the student ignore. I've seen very less students who are familiar with the marking scheme, who exactly know the marking scheme. If I ask 10 students, tell me the marking scheme of this area, 5 will be prepared, 5 will be unprepared, and sometimes even less than 5. I hope you all know where the marking schemes are. You all know the examiner answers, right? And in the last 2 to 3 pages of the examiner answers, you find the marking schemes. Let me show you that. Okay, can you see the answers in front of your page, in front of your windows now? Okay, great. Now, this is just an example of telling you that you're all familiar with this document published by ACC, right? Are you all familiar with this document? Definitely, because this is for you the most important document, right? Honestly, for every student consider, oh, this is the most important document. But you never visit the marking scheme. You go to the last few pages of the answer. See, these are answers written, tutorial answers, very lengthy answers. Don't just get impressed with them. And when you reach down, you need to write an answer which fits within 3 hours and 15 minutes. See this. Can you see this last 4 pages of the answers, page number 12 onwards, which says marking scheme. Can you see this marking scheme here? I've just highlighted that for you. Marking scheme on the right hand side, marking scheme. Now, whichever question must have come in March, June 21 exam, examiner is giving us the marking scheme. See, examiner is giving us the marking scheme for business risk. Examiner is giving us the marking scheme for audit risk. Examiner is giving us the marking scheme for audit procedures. Examiner is giving us the marking scheme for ethical and professional issues. Examiner is giving us the marking scheme for other questions which came in the paper, and so on and so forth. But can you see with the marking scheme, examiner is also giving us something very important here. Examiner under the marking scheme is saying that you have 2 marks for each business risk, for example. But then the examiner is saying these were ideal business risks in the case study. Can you see examiner is giving us the bullets of the business risks which are available in the case study? Now listen to me something very carefully here. If I am a student and I'm preparing instead of you for the AAA exams in December, and I am writing an answer on business risk, right? Now, when I'm writing an answer on business risk, and I read a case March, June 21, and from the March, June 21 exams, I identified business risk and I wrote business risk, right? Suppose I wrote, it was a 10 marks question, right? So for a 10 marks question, ideally, how many business risks will I be writing as per the marking scheme? Up to 2 marks are available for each risk. 5. Okay. I write 5 business risks. Good. Now, when I wrote the 5 business risk on the practice platform, and I just want to confirm whether I wrote right or wrong, I will not go and see the examiner answer. I will not go and see, okay, let's see the examiner answer on business risk. Let's see the examiner answer on business risk, which most of you see and then get afraid. And then you don't have a good night's sleep. You are afraid, you have a fear factor. Okay, see, a lot of students will come here, business risk. Oh, see how the examiner has written it. See how large examiner has written international expansion. Wow, how can I write that much? How many of you do that? How many of you look at this direct answer of the examiner when you write your answer? And you say, oh, wow, examiner writes so big. How can I write that much? I'm not well prepared for AAA. Okay, thank you, Eric, for raising your hand. I do it regularly, Afan. Very good. Impressive answer, Wes. See? Now, if I write an answer for business risk at home and I want to check my answer, I will directly go down to the marking scheme, knowing that I have to write 5 business risks. I'll see which of the risk has the examiner highlighted in the marking scheme. Right? See, which of the business risk has the examiner written over here? Number 1, can you all see it? Number 1, international expansion. Number 2, the gold standard accreditation. Number 3, legal case. Number 4, damage of the asset. Number 5, liquidity. Number 6, industrial action. Number 7, incentive payment. So examiner has told me that these 7 were possible. But out of the 7, how many I have to write? 5. Right? Now, when I reconcile my answer, that do I have the 5 business risks which are available in this list of 7? And if I find my 5 business risks in this list of 7, will I be happy? Definitely. I'm not looking at the way the examiner wrote them, because the way I write international expansion and the way the examiner writes an international expansion, the way Hamza writes an international expansion, or the way Awais write an international expansion, or the way any other student, Eric, write a business risk answer will be different. But if Eric has international expansion as a heading, Awais has international expansion as a heading, Hamza has international expansion as a heading, Kashif Kamran has an international expansion as a heading, is that right? So have I picked up the right, have we all picked up the right business risk? Right? So what you need to reconcile from your answer, the points. So examiner point should reconcile with your point. Are you getting my point? Examiner point should reconcile with your point. Within the 7, right? Within the 7 points given by the examiner. How many you have to write? 5. Yes, the explanation could be different. So the way one student write an answer, the way the second write an answer, the way I write an answer, will be different. But should we all have the same headings? International expansion, something like that. So are you getting the point? I've been focusing on this in my previous webinars, even that you should reconcile the point. You should not reconcile the answer. So when you know every business risk is worth 2 marks, and you know there are 10 marks, how many business risks are you writing? 5. Now, when you write the 5 business risks, go back and see the examiner marking scheme and see that out of the points given by the examiner, that these were the relevant points. Reconcile, have you got 5 points from this list? See, if your point is complete or not, that depends upon the way you write. See, I will be guiding you, Asha, tomorrow, that how you write a complete business risk answer. What assures completeness of a business risk answer? What should be in your business risk answer to assure it's complete? That is something of an agenda from day 2 onwards, right? Currently, we're just discussing the importance of a marking scheme. Is everyone realizing the importance of marking scheme? That it's not just giving us the marking scheme of a topic, it also giving us a point to reconcile your points with the examiner points. Is everyone getting that point? So will you be watchful of the examiner marking schemes of the last few exam sittings? Will you reconcile your points with the examiner marking scheme points just to ensure the points are valid? Okay, that's great. Okay, just let me go back to my presentation for a minute. See what I wrote on my presentation. Watch it. Examiner marking scheme is available at the end of the published answers. Have I shown you that just now? Normally on the last 2 to 3 pages, right? Review the latest examiner answers for the last 3 to 4 exam settings to be familiar with the marking scheme for each requirement and each topic. Don't review very old marking schemes, right? How many marking schemes am I recommending you? Last 3 to 4 exam settings, not beyond that, because beyond that, the marking schemes might be different. So just look at the recent marking schemes to assure you know the marking scheme per topic. Yes, very good answer. I just need to answer this question from Derek. Suppose you wrote a point on business risk, Derek, which is not in the examiner marking scheme. Examiner, write this in the tutorial note that you will be rewarded a credit for a business risk if that is not available in the examiner answer, if that business risk is justified well in the context of the case study, right? Examiner is a human being, right? Examiner might not think a business risk which you might think, and you justified Derek perfectly in the exam context. You will be rewarded for that, even that's not available in the examiner answer. I hope you're getting your point, Derek, and every one of you. Marking schemes know-how is mostly ignored by the students when preparing for AAA, resulting in writing more or writing less. See, if you don't know the marking scheme, can you write a lengthy answer? If you don't know the marking scheme of business risk, suppose a student says, okay, 1 mark per business risk. So for 10 marks, how many business risks will you be writing in the exam? If you think the marking scheme for business risk is 1, you will be writing 10 business risk. But if any student knows that the marking scheme for business risk is 2 marks and total marks are 10, how many business risks will that student be writing? 5. So are you wasting your time writing more business risk if you don't know the marking scheme? So it's very, very important you know the marking scheme, right? Because either you might be writing more or you might be writing less. So be aware of the marking schemes. Please ensure you review the marking schemes, because marking schemes is a wonderful document which helps you identify the reconciliation of your point with the examiner point. You can reconcile your points, number 1, and you can know the marking scheme. Is everyone getting that? So there are 2 benefits of the marking scheme, right? The first benefit is you can reconcile your point with the examiner point, number 1, and you can know the marking scheme. Is that clear to all of you? Great. So critically review the marking scheme when you're practicing, right? The last thing, critically review the examiner reports. I've given the hyperlink where the examiner reports are available on the web page for AAA. You can just go there and you can see the examiner reports available for the last many sittings. You should at least read the last 4 examiner reports. Last 4. Last 4. Because when you read the examiner reports, which students don't, I think out of 10, only 2 read it. I think that's the proportion. You will identify from the examiner report the journal reason for student failing in AAA, and you ignore it, and you go to the exam hall, you fail again. From the examiner report, you identify the criticism of the question, question-wise criticism. You ignore the criticism, you go to the exam hall, you fail. What examiner appreciates. So when you read the examiner report, you also get to know what examiner appreciates, so that you can increase the opportunity to score more marks in December 21. What examiner criticize? If you know that, you can overcome that for December 21. So examiner report provides you some very good suggestions, not just appreciating you, but also criticizing you and also giving you suggestion. A lot of time when you see the examiner reports, it says future candidate should. So many times the examiner write future candidate should, giving you advice. Now, how many of you are in ignorance of these resources? Criticism, why you fail, appreciations, criticisms, suggestions. You ignore all this and you believe I'm well prepared for December 21 exams. And you go to the December 21 exam and you do the same mistake which the examiner has written, journal reasons for failing. You do the same mistake which the examiner has criticized in the last examiner report. You do the same mistake which is against the suggestion of the examiner. Then who is to blame? Who is to blame? You yourself. Examiner reports are wonderful documents. Please, please, please try to read the last 4 examiner reports. So if you are attempting a March, June 21 question at home, once you complete it, then read the March, June 21 examiner report. See what is the examiner telling you. What are the do's and what are the don'ts? I normally recommend students, just to give you an example, if you can see this one example of an examiner report in front of you. Can you see the examiner report for March, June 21 on your screen, everyone? 24 pages. 24 pages of an examiner commenting, telling you what was good in the March, June 21, what was bad, what you should do, what you should not do. I normally tell students that when you are reading the examiner report, download it, take a printout of it. Keep one red pen, one green pen with you, right? Can you see these 2 color pens, red and green? Take a printout of the March, June 21 report, put it on your table, start reading it. Now, in the report, where the examiner appreciates something, circle that in green and say do, write do. Where the examiner says, where the examiner criticizes something, circle that in red and write don't. And by the end of the 24 pages, you will have so many do's and so many don'ts. You do it over the 4 examiner reports, and you will literally be amazed that there are so many things you do in an exam which you should not do. And there are so many things which you don't do in the examination hall which you should do. So will you have this red and green pens, download a report, sit down, do the analysis, everyone? Is that extremely important for all of you? Will that be really helpful to all of you? Please tell me. So once you complete the March, June 21 exams, right? Now, so see this examiner report. Can you see the first is the journal comments in the examiner report, the journal reason why student fail. Then can you see question number 1? Examiner is telling us about the question number 1, that what was the issues in question number 1. And see how many pages examiner spent on question number 1, 4, up to from 4 to page number 12. 8 pages on question number 1. Then the examiner is telling us question number 2 on page number 14, question number 3 on page number 21. And then the examiner is giving us a conclusion. See, this is the wonderful document you student ignore. You just are obsessed with answers. Honestly, you are all obsessed with answers of examiner. And you try to find success of yours in examiner answers. Seriously, if you think examiner answers is a source of success, you will never find it. honestly, because you cannot write that much in 3 hours. Every student who gets a place winner position, so many of my students in the September 21 exams from different countries of the world got place winner positions. And they just write an answer which is like 3 to 4 sentences long for 1 mark. But if you just get yourself amazed with examiner answers and you try to link your success with the examiner answers, you will never get it. Because you're looking at half the picture. You're not looking at full picture. The full picture comes when you look at the examiner report. This is a document on screen, which is written for the student community. Tell me, what is the relevance of student reading it? Tell me in the messages quickly. I read, I don't read, quickly. Or simply say read, not read, quick. Read, not read. How many of you were unaware of this? Okay. Quite a lot of students were saying not read, not read, not read, right? And among them, there are few students saying read. Okay, so what about not read students? Will you have a tendency of reading these 4 reports over the next 30 days? Over the 30 days, 4 reports? 1 report a week, 1 report a week. Is that difficult? Please, please, please do that. Please do that. So you will get so much out of it. I'll just give you one suggestion shortly, and just let me go back to my presentation. A critical review of the examiner reports. It's so critical for you to find your success. Find the do's, find the don'ts. Keep a green pen, keep a red pen. Invest in a green pen, invest in red pen. That will really help you in your exam success. I always keep these green and reds with me, right? I always keep this green and reds with me because when I'm doing something for my AAA preparation, wherever I find a positive point, I put that in green. Wherever I find a negative point, I put that in red. And that really helps me as a tutor and will definitely help you as a student. I hope you will follow this advice of your tutor. Okay, the last thing, and then wrapping it up. Look at this study planner now. This is what you should have for the next 4 weeks on your screen. 4 weeks, 6 things: articles, webinars, and accounting standards. This is the 3 things I guided you under the knowledge, right? Practice past papers on the platform, 6 of them, marking schemes, at least 3 to 4 papers, and examiner reports. You have to read how many examiner reports? Tell me. How many examiner reports you have to read? 4. So can we keep 1 examiner report for week number 1, 1 examiner report for week number 2, 1 for week number 3, and 1 for week number 4? How many marking schemes you have to evaluate? The last 3 to 4? So 1 marking scheme, 1 week, 1 marking scheme, 1 marking scheme, 1 marking. Is that a significant load? Is that a significant load? Keeping 1 every week? No. Past papers. How many past papers you should be practicing? Honestly, tell me. Let me put that for you on the Word file. How many past papers you should be practicing? Past papers to practice. How many? Now, I suggest when you're preparing for December 21 exams, the past papers you should practice on priority. Rest is your option. Rest is your option. The priority ones are, let's count how many are them, right? September 18, starting with the paper format change to 3 questions. December 18, that is available. Then we have the March, June 19 paper together. That's the 3rd one. Then we have the September, December 19 paper available. Then we have the March 20 paper available. Then we have the September, December 20 paper available. And then we have the March, June 21 paper available. How many papers in total? 7. Latest from September 18, 7. Is that clear to all of you? 7. And 7 over 4 weeks. So ideally like 2 papers a week, 2 papers a week. And you do them 100%, right? 2 papers a week. 7 papers. Right? And you do these 7 papers and you're 100% prepared. Every topic will come in them. Every core topic will come in them. And because you're appearing for 21 exams, you cannot do very old papers, right? Please understand this. You cannot do old papers like 14, 15, 16. Yes, there are certain topics which comes once in a blue moon. Even as a tutor, when I do past papers in my classes, if a topic comes once in a blue moon, suppose there is a topic, auditor liability. Now, auditor liability came way back in 2000, I think 2012 exams, not after that. Now, if I have to solve a question on auditor liability, I have to go to 2012. Now, suppose there is a topic on professional skepticism. Now, professional skepticism comes so less in past paper. So if I have to solve professional skepticism, I have to go back very old papers. So, but regular topics, ethics, risk, reporting, other assignments, you will find them all in these 7 papers. So this is your first priority. But if you want to go to the second priority, what is the second priority? In the second priority of the past papers, which you should do after you complete the 7 one, the second priority after this should be what? Let me highlight that for you. Yes, money laundering topic has come in December 18, right? So it's in the recent paper, right? So you don't need to go back to money laundering topics for the previous ones. This is for those students who are just now focused on the last 30 days. What should you do in the last 30 days, right? Okay, next, second priority. Start from December 16. Then you come to 17, you have June 17, and you have December 17, right? And then you have June 18. Fine, 4 more papers, right? So this should be your second priority. December 16, June 17, December 17, and June 18. Is that clear? This is second priority. Now in total, how many questions we have? How many questions we have? 11, right? Now 11 questions over 4 weeks. So that's like 3 questions a week. If you go with second priority, if you go with first priority, that's just like 2 questions a week. So you go back to your timetable. And how many questions to practice? Ideally, if you practice 2, 2, 2, and 2, you get to 8. That's fine, first priority. But if you practice, in some weeks, you practice 2 to 3. Last week, you practice 2 to 3. And in the middle weeks, you practice 2. You can still fit something like 9 to 10 papers, right? Clear? Yes, it's quite normal, right? Obviously, one question paper should take you like 3 to 4 hours at home. So will you fill this table for yourself after conducting a self-appraisal? How much time you should be given? How 21 articles, how many you have done? How many you still need to do? So if one student has to do all 21, then you have to divide them over the 4 weeks. If one student has to do only 10 of them, 5 of them, then you have to divide them over the week. How many webinars have you already watched? How many you have to watch? How many standards you know? How many standards you need to revise, right? So will you fill up this table yourself after your self-appraisal, how much things you are left with? So will everyone has a different looking table here? But will this table help you plot your next 4 weeks, everyone? So is this table helpful? Is this discussion we had in the last 1.5 hour about practice and about knowledge is helpful to all of you? Right? Just one last thing and giving you a break. Come back to the support file. I hope you can see the support file. This is just my final word, which is important. A final word of thought. And this is just something I was thinking for the last 15 minutes, but I thought I should put it down on my word file. Final word of thought here. Just listen to me carefully from the day 1 before we go to something else on day 1. Final word of thought. C. Number 1. First, take a past paper on the platform. First, take a past paper on the platform and do it 100%. First, take a past paper on the platform and do it 100%, right? For example, March, June 21. For example, March, June 21. So for this 1 week, you take the March, June 21 paper and you perform it on the platform 100%, right? And you write your own answer without looking at the examiner answer and anything, right? Just do it on your own. First, take a paper on the platform and do it 100% yourself, right? Yourself. Done. Answer written on the platform. Come to the step 2. Now, reconcile the points you wrote in your answer with the points in the examiner marking scheme, right? Which is in the examiner answer. Again, what I'm saying, reconcile your answer. No, reconcile your points with you wrote in your answer with the points of the examiner. Am I saying reconcile your answer with the examiner answer? No. I'm saying now reconcile the points you wrote in your answer with the points in the examiner answer marking scheme to identify how many of your points matched. How many of your points matched? 60, 70, 80, good. Less than 50, bad. To identify how many of your points matched, you might have a point which is not in examiner answer. Don't be worried about it. If you have rightly explained it in context of case, examiner do mention in examiner answer that you will get marks for a point not written in examiner answer, Look at the bullet number 3, read it and tell me, do you understand this? You might have a point which is not available in the examiner answer. Read this and tell me, is this a comfortable bullet for all of you? Bullet number 3. Just quickly read the bullet number 3. Right, so examiner do mention that you write something which is not in my answer, which is valid, you get marks. But it has to be case specific, right? It has to be in the context of case. If it is out of the case, you will not get anything, right? It has to be in the context of the case. Next, after this, read the examiner report. Read the examiner report for March, June 21, for example, with a red and green pen and highlight with red the don'ts and with green the do's, and then evaluate your answer again you wrote above for how many don'ts exist in your answer. How many don'ts exist in your answer to have a constructive feedback on your answer. Look at the bullet number 4 and tell me, is that understandable to all of you from the session today? So write the do's and don'ts and then evaluate your answer. That is there any don't in your answer? Will this bullet number 4 help you with learning? Is this something which is helping you with learning? And will this learning help you? Now, finally, if you do each of the priority questions, how many priority questions we have? A total of 7. If you do each of these priority questions this way, or at least 4 of them this way, or at least latest 4 this way, or at least latest 4 this way above, you stand at high chances of success in December 21. High chances of success in December 21. Just tell me this final word of thought. How helpful is this for you in terms of practice? Just Just give 1 minute and read all 5 bullets. Take 1 minute, read all the 5 bullets, and tell me how good this is for you, honestly. Okay, that's great. So has this session been helpful to you for in the first part today, day one? We're just going off to a break now for 10 minutes. Your feedback for today, how was it? Have you learned something from the start to this point in time? Has it been a source of learning for you? Has it been a source of motivation for you? Has it been a source to identify what should be your track ahead? Right. Thank you so much. Right. So this Word file will come your way. Don't worry about it. And we were discussing the right study planner, right? So I hope this right study planner will be helpful to you. Now, right after the break, after 10 minutes, as we move to the last leg of the day one, I will be focusing on the syllabus changes, which is extremely important. So I'll be focusing on the changes in the syllabus, and I'll spend 1 hour on the syllabus changes, which is extremely important. And you should be knowing how these syllabus changes really impacted the last paper, which is September 21, because these changes came from September 21, right? And already I discussed these changes in my September 21 webinar. And the good thing is that the way I suggested the student the changes can come in, it came exactly the same way. And it was, I was very much amazed that the way I told student that this is how the change can impact you, it literally impact that way the question number 1 of the September 21 exams. So please be very careful about these syllabus changes, how they will impact December 21 exams, as they have already impacted the September 21 exams. So I hope you have interest in these syllabus changes in the last 1 hour of the session today. So it's like 7:17, so just rounding it off, it's like 7:20. So we'll resume at 7:30, right? 7:30 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. I'll be resuming back. So off to a break. I'm just muting myself and putting my camera off. And please come back for the last 1 hour, because in the last 15 minutes, we have a Q&A session as well, right? Where you can ask anything pertaining to the topic we were discussing today, not off the topic, right? Thank you so very much for participating, and just keep dropping your feedback for the first part of the session today. That will be very much appreciated. So please drop your feedback about the session today. Thank you. So we resume at 7:30, right? Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you're all there. We're just like a minute away from the start of the proceedings. I just came back early in the class just to ensure that you are all back into the class as well. We're just like slightly over a minute away from the start of the proceedings. You will be getting the presentation of this webinar on a daily basis, including the Word file on a daily basis on the WhatsApp group right after the webinar ends. So every day when the webinar ends, you will be getting the presentation and the Word file, so don't be worried about it. Yes, if you do the recent papers, you have high chances of getting passed in December 21. Don't do the old papers, right? So do the recent papers first. Okay, just waiting for the others to join the group, the class, sorry, and we are starting the proceedings. Okay, can you see the presentation screen in front and my video, and is everything in the orderly manner as it was before the break? So we are just starting this last part of the webinar today. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's resume back, right? Let's resume back. Okay, now the last thing we need to discuss today on the day one of the webinar to success is to discuss the syllabus changes. Now, these syllabus changes were introduced ahead of the September 21 exams, and they're applicable up to the June 2022 exams, right? So these changes are important, and you should be aware of these changes because these changes will be impacting your December 21 exams as well. How? Now that's the big question, right? So I need to focus on them. I've already guided about these changes in my September 21 webinar, so you can also watch that because these changes have already come into the September 21 exam. So I will be discussing them in a very different manner because you already have a resource available on which is September 21 webinar. Now, just give me 1 minute if I can put this on my Word file. Can you all see the Word file back again on your screens? Please confirm that. Okay, many thanks for that. If you can see the Word file on your screen. Okay, let's write something down here, which is basically the recent changes in the syllabus. Recent changes in AAA syllabus applicable from September 21 exams onwards, September 21 exams onwards. So you're already appearing for December 21 exams. The changes have been put in place. Let's see how these changes impact you. Now listen to me carefully. There are three changes which were brought into the syllabus. Now, when you look at the syllabus guide, basically, your syllabus has how many areas? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? You have the 7 syllabus areas, right? We discussed that at the beginning of the session today. There are 7 syllabus areas. So the changes has been brought in the following areas. The changes have been brought, number 1, in the syllabus area D, and the changes have been brought in the syllabus area G. Now, what is the syllabus area D? The syllabus area D is about planning and risk assessment. You all know about it. It comes in the question number 1, risk assessment. And the syllabus area G is the current issues, right? Syllabus area G is the current issues. I hope you have the knowledge of that. I just give you that at the beginning of the webinar. Now, knowing the fact that syllabus area D is linked with planning and risk. So where will you see the change impacting? Any change in the syllabus area D will impact which question? So if a change has come in syllabus area D, which is planning and risk, will definitely impact the question number 1, right? Will definitely impact question number 1 only, full stop. Am I right? So that will impact the question number 1 only. And the change which has come in the current issue, because we know current issue can come anywhere in the paper. Examiner can put the current issue in the question number 1 or 2 or 3. Current issue can be anywhere in the paper if the examining team writes an article. Syllabus area G current issues, we know can be examined anywhere in the paper. But we know the rule with current issue is current issues are only examined when the examining team writes an article. Current issues are only examined when examining team writes an article. So far, as of the 8th of November, today, no article, right? If it comes tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'll update you. But normally the time for article coming has lapsed. So probably no current issues for December exams. So your stress level should go down. Okay, now let's go one by one. The changes in syllabus area D are two. One change, the examining team refers the change as D1, and one change the examining team refer as D2. So two changes have come in syllabus area D. One is D1 and one is D2. In syllabus area G, it's just G, right? No breakups. So three changes, one in G, one is D1 and one is D2, right? So just be prepared for it. One is in D, but there are two bifurcations of D, D1 and D2, right? Now let's go one by one, D1 and D2. I just need to put you a summary because I then will refer you to watch my September 21 webinar. The changes which have come in D1, let's go one by one. D1, then let's discuss D2, and then let's discuss G. So that's how we go in, right? Let's first go over D1. What is the change which is coming in D1? Planning and risk assessment. Planning and risk assessment. Let me put that way and then discuss with you. Okay, let's start it. Okay, now when you look at the planning and risk assessment and you look at the change coming in D1, D1 change is about the use of a terminology which has been brought in line with the revised ISA 315. The syllabus change D1, why it has came in. The change is introduced in line with the revised ISA 315, the revised ISA 315, right? So the change is introduced in line with the revised ISA 315, number one. And the examining team has already written an article on this, which is the examining team has already written an article on the changes on the revision of ISA 315, on the revision of ISA 315 ahead of the September 21 exams. Ahead of the September 21 exams, right? This article was written to inform students about the changes which have come in ISA 315. And because of the changes which came in ISA 315, the syllabus area D1 has been changed in your exam paper. Now, where is the article? If you go back to the list of articles I shared with you at the beginning of the session today, can you see this article, the very first one here, Risk and Understanding the Entity? This is the revised ISA 315, Risk and Understanding the Entity. Can you see this article here? Risk and Understanding the Entity? Everyone? So this is the must to read article, right? Just right over here, must to read, because you will be aware of the changes in syllabus area D1. So if you want to be aware of the syllabus changes D1, this is must to read article. Risk and Understanding the Entity. I've already covered this. I'll just show you. Okay, so examining team has written an article on the revision of ISA 315 ahead of the September 21 exams by the title of Risk and Understanding the Entity, which is the 6th article on the website, which is the 6th article on the AAA web page for articles, right? 6th article from top, and you read it. Now, the good thing is that I've already covered this article, ISA 315. If you see my YouTube channel, just let me show you that for 1 minute, and we'll be back to things. Okay, can you see the YouTube page in front of your screen now? Can you all see this YouTube page in front of your screen now? Okay, great. Now, when you go to my YouTube channel, come down here. Can you see this video here? Just let me annotate that for you. Okay, just 1 minute. Can you see this video over here? New article, risk and understanding the entity. Can you all see that? This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th video on my website. Risk and understanding the entity. I've given the hyperlink of that in my presentation, so you can just click on that and reach, right? But I've covered this, a 1-hour video, just covering the new article, right? So you can watch it, right? Already like 5,000 students have watched it since it was uploaded, but you can also watch it and you will get all the knowledge you need for this new article, risk and understanding the entity, and how it will be examined too. And it has already been examined in September 21, right? Okay, good. So you go back, just 1 minute. And you go back to the presentation Word file, right? So this article, risk and understanding the entity on the Word file. Can you all see the Word file back again on your screen? Please confirm that. Okay, which is the 6th article on the AAA web page, right? And already covered on my YouTube channel. So I'll share the link with you just now. Just wait for 1 minute. It's there. So you go down, you watch that video, and you learn this article ISA 315, and then after that you can read the article. So first listen to my video, then read the article, right? So you will prepare this in the next 24 hours, right? So in the next 24 hours, watch the video, prepare the article, done. So you know the ISA 315 revision. Now, how will it be impacting your exam paper? Just let me show you the presentation now. Okay, can you see the presentation on screen now? Syllabus changes, everyone? Okay, good. 3 syllabus changes. That is what I was guiding you, right? The 3 syllabus changes is D1, D2, and G2. We are discussing the D1 first. And in terms of the D1, I was guiding you. This is the YouTube channel where I've just put in the changes. If you look at this YouTube channel, there are 2 videos here. One is risk and understanding the entity, which is the new article, which covers the change in D1. And then there is a look at this article here. AAA syllabus changes D2. So I've already covered the change in D2 on my YouTube channel as well. So you can watch it right after the class today, D1 and D2. Can you see these 2 circled videos on my YouTube channel? Syllabus changes D2 and risk and understanding the entity, right? So these are the 2 videos I would prefer that you watch, because that will give you knowledge about how things will be examined from D1 and D2. So already the efforts have been put on it before the September 21 exams went live. Okay, now moving on. D1, syllabus changes, what it means for you. Learning outcome, D1, in relation to evaluation of risk, requires you to evaluate and prioritize risk. Do you all agree that the question number 1 always asks you to evaluate either the audit risk or evaluate the business risk or evaluate the risk of material misstatement, right? It's quite a standard question, right? You get in the question number 1. So D1 is in relation to the evaluation of risk, which is a common question coming in the AAA paper. But now what has changed? Now, what has changed from the September 21 exam? I took the feedback from the September 21 students because the paper is not uploaded. So the student told me that exactly what was guided in the September 21 webinar about evaluation of risk came in. What is the change? The change is requires you as a student to evaluate and prioritize. Before you were evaluating. So you do the past papers, every past paper, you were evaluating the risk, evaluating the audit risk or evaluating the risk of material misstatement or evaluating the business risk. But what is extra? What is extra now? The extra is that you have to prioritize them. This is something extra. Now, last time when the exam paper came in, there was a terminology used in the last exam paper, which I'll just be telling you, which means that you now need to prioritize the risk. Will you lose marks if you don't prioritize the risk? How many marks will you lose if you don't prioritize the risk? we are already discussing risk on day 2 tomorrow. So when I draft an answer for risk tomorrow, I will assure I give you a very good definition of a prioritizing risk, right? So when I do a drill of a question tomorrow, I will tell you what exactly prioritizing mean and how would you do it in exam. Will you lose any marks? So be prepared for the session tomorrow, right? But evaluating risk is something old. We were doing evaluating of risk, right? But something which is now required from you is prioritizing risk. Is everyone clear with the bullet number 1? So I will be displaying the prioritizing risk tomorrow, day 2, sorry. Next, look at this bullet very carefully. This reflects the requirement of the ISA 315 revised around the determination of significant risk. So ISA 315 now requires the auditor to identify significant risk. And that's what the examiner is asking you as a student. Significant risk means prioritized risk. In the September 21 exam, the examiner used the terminology evaluate the significant audit risk. And my student did provide me the feedback on this. They said that exactly what you said in the September 21 webinar, that the examiner can use the terminology significant audit risk. Examiner did use it. So significant audit risk. So if the examiner is saying evaluate the audit risk, and if the examiner is saying evaluate the significant audit risk, does it make any difference? Tell me. Evaluate the audit risk, evaluate the significant audit risk. Yes, Hamza, I will be giving you a guidance on that. How would you go about priority? It's so easy, right? It's not a waste of time if you have cleverness. So I will be showing you that cleverness tomorrow, right? Don't be worried about it. Is everyone clear with the significant risk terminology coming in? In relation to a spectrum of inherent risk, Now, when you read my article on the YouTube, see, this is the YouTube link here. My video on the YouTube channel for understanding the article is right here. So when you watch my YouTube session, it will give you a definition of a significant risk, right? And it will also guide you what is the meaning of the word spectrum of inherent risk. You all know what is an inherent risk, right? But what is a spectrum of inherent risk? What is the literal meaning of the word spectrum of inherent risk? I've already guided about that in my YouTube video. So please do watch it so you know exactly what is a significant risk and what is the spectrum of inherent risk. If the examiner used the terminology spectrum of inherent risk in your exam paper, don't be worried about it, right? Because already the session is available. You just need to click and watch it. Is everyone clear with the bullet number 2? Then in the bullet number 3, the question may ask significant business risk, significant ROM, or a significant audit risk to ensure that you are focusing on prioritizing risk. So the question might ask you the term significant risk. So the examiner wants to see whether you are focusing on significant risk or not, which are at the upper end of the spectrum. What are significant risks? Watch the YouTube video. What are significant risks? What is the upper spectrum of inherent risk? Watch the YouTube video. So you're very clear what are high level risk. So you should be aware of the high level risk, the risk at the upper end of the spectrum. So what is the change in D1? The change in D1 is that the examiner will ask you, the change in the D1 is that in the future exams, examiner will now ask, evaluate the significant fill in the blank risk, whether it is an audit risk, a business risk, or a risk of material misstatement. So examiner will ask you, evaluate the significant risk. Look at this here, significant. Now that is where the attention has to be given, and you need to watch my video on the YouTube channel for it. Significant risk. Now significant means you need to prioritize risk. You need to identify risk at the upper spectrum, of the inherent risk. Now, what is an upper spectrum of inherent risk? Watch the video. So you're very clear before the session tomorrow, day 2, what is an upper spectrum, right? Upper spectrum, prioritize risk. Now, my session tomorrow, day 2, is about risk. So when I do a question in the live class tomorrow, I will be telling you how you prioritize a risk from a case study, what exactly prioritization means in the exam paper. How would you do it without wasting your time? Is that clear to all of you? But I would prefer that before the session tomorrow, you watch the YouTube video on the new article, Risk and Understanding the Entity. So you're very clear about what is the literal meaning of the word prioritizing risk, and you're very clear about upper spectrum of inherent risk. So syllabus area D1 is about a new article, which is the 6th article on the web page, and is about my YouTube video, and is about examiner asking you evaluate the significant audit risk, significant risk of material misstatement, or a significant business risk. So what will you do in the exam paper for significant? Are you getting clear? What will you do in the exam paper about prioritizing? What will you do in the exam paper about upper spectrum? So I hope you will all be interested in the session tomorrow, right? But please ensure you are aware of it. So will you all be reading the new article? Tell me. Will you all be reading the new article after watching my video? The hyperlink of that is given in my presentation. So, and then when you join my session tomorrow, day 2, you will really understand it. So is everyone clear about this? The presentation on your screen now. The learning outcome D1 is about prioritizing risk, is about finding significant risk. And it is in line with the revision which came in ISA 315, right? And already done it. So question may ask, I put a asterisk, already examined in September 21 exams. Question number 1. So question number 1 of September 21 exam already examined it. They used the word significant audit risk. Currently, there is no past paper available for significant audit risk because it started from September 21 and that paper is not uploaded. So you cannot do Kashifullah, you cannot do any paper for that currently. But I will be guiding you about how to prioritize. So that would be good enough for you. Okay, syllabus change D2. Now the syllabus change D2 right in front of your screen is much more easier. This learning outcome, the D2, is in relation to the automated tools and techniques, particularly data analytics. Now we know data analytics has been a very old phenomenon in AAA paper. The article on data analytics was written like almost a year ago and has been examined a couple of times. The changes which have come in data analytics and how data analytics is impacting the audit process, how the data analytics is impacting the planning process of the audit, the risk assessment process of the audit. Examiner wants you to be aware of it, right? The introduction of the learning outcome D2, the introduction of the learning outcome D2 requires the ability to evaluate and interpret the results generated from these techniques. You all know that in the question number 1, you have the financial results given. Agree, disagree? In the question number 1, you have the financial results given, whether less or more. Agree, disagree? Agree. Good. Now we know that in the question number 1, sometimes you have a complete financial statement. Sometimes you have an extract of the financial statement, but you cannot find a question number 1 without a financial statement. But now what is changing? What is changing from September 21 exams? Examiner wants the ability to evaluate and interpret the results generated from the data analytics. You used to perform analytical procedures, right, in the previous questions as well, right? You used to evaluate and interpret results in the prior papers of AAA as well, right? When the examiner used to ask you the analytical procedures, am I right? So evaluating and interpreting the results is not an issue, but evaluating and interpreting the results is an issue because the results are presented in a different form. The results are presented in a different form. How? Look at the bullet number 3. You may be presented with results, the financial results, of these techniques in a variety of formats and asked to consider the results specifically or to utilize the results as part of the planning process. I've already covered how the results will come now in question number 1. Watch my video on dashboard results and how the dashboard results can be analyzed on my YouTube channel. And these dashboard results were already examined in September 21 exams. Now, in the question number 1, you have the financial results, right? But those results will now be presented differently in a form of a dashboard, data analytics, in form of like a graph, in form of like a bar chart, pie chart, something like that. And the students told me from September 21 exam that it came exactly the same way in September 21 exams. Examiner presented an inventory holding period in a form of a dashboard, like a chart, like a bar chart or a pie chart, something like that. Right? So the results can be presented in a form of a graph or a pie chart or a bar chart dashboard. So financial results is a very regular part of the question number 1, right? But the results will be presented in a different way. Now, just let me give you some glimpse of that. Just give me 1 minute. If I can show you some glimpse of that, which I even shown to my September 21 students as well. Okay. Can you see this picture in front of your screen? Yes, we know there are so many papers internationally. If it doesn't come in the Pakistan paper, that's not an issue. It came in some international papers, but students in Pakistan should be prepared for it, right? Because this change will now impact more massively in the December 21 exams. Look at the results. Now, instead of presenting results like a financial statement, the results can be presented this way. And you look at the results. Okay, what's happening in this result? What is rising? What is falling? Right? Look at this result here. It tells you cash in the current year, cash in the prior year, income in the current year, income in the prior year. And you need to pick out what is actually happening. What is the risk? Yes, you're concerned with the numbers, right? But numbers will be reflected in a form of a data analytics. Now, numbers will be represented in a graph, in a pie chart. And you need to pick out what is the risk. If the inventory holding period is rising in a graph from the last year to this year, you will still pick the same risk, that there is a risk of an obsolete inventory and the inventory could be wrongly valued. But the numbers will now be reflective in a graph. Is that clear to all of you? So dashboard means graphically. Dashboard means presenting results in a graphical form. Just let me show you another picture. This is much relevant. Can you see the second picture on your screen, or should I just need to reflect that? Okay, let me reflect that. Okay, look at the second picture on your screen. See, it's telling you about the gross profit margin, how it is up and down in the last 4 or 5 years. Look at the debt to equity ratio in the last 3 to 4 years. Look at the return on equity in the last 3 to 4 years. And you need to pick out the trend, what is happening and what's the risk. Is that clear? What is the dashboard? So this is a dashboard, right? So the results presented graphically. This is what is exactly the meaning of the word data analytics. So this is data analysis, right? Is that a way you analyze the data? So you'd analyze the data graphically, right? So is everyone becoming clear with data analytics? This is how the auditor performs data analysis and find the risk. So the data analysis help you with risk assessment, right? Right? Okay, let's move back and let's understand what I was just discussing with you in the D2. Just let me take on my Word file now. I hope you can see the Word file. So for syllabus area D2, pretty simple. What you need to do for syllabus area D2, it's if I write it in a simple language now for you, that what syllabus area D2 expects from you? You will be presented results in the form of a dashboard that is graphically like charts, pie charts, or bar charts, etc., about financial results or ratios, and you need to evaluate the graphical result. You need to evaluate the graphical results to identify the risk. Is that easy, understandable bullet now? That's the summary of what we have been discussing for the last 5 minutes. Read this bullet and tell me, does it make sense to you? So in question number 1, you have the results, but the results will now be presented in a different manner. In September 21 exams, in certain papers in certain countries, because we know there are different sets of paper, student did give feedback that they got inventory holding period graphically. Inventory holding period graphically in question number 1. And they have to analyze what's the risk in the inventory holding period rising. So D2 is about presenting results, right? Is everyone clear with D2, presenting results? Presenting financial results. So have I already covered a video on this on my YouTube channel, presenting financial results? Yes, so you have to watch it, everyone. Are you with me? Are you getting my point, everyone? Is D2 clear? So is the bullets understandable to you? So please ensure you are aware of the changes which have come in D2, how the results will now be presented to all of you. And you should be familiar with how the results will be impacting your future exams. Just give me 1 second. So D2 is about presenting the financial result, and D1 is what D1 was about: significant audit risk. Significant risk. So you need to focus on significant risk in the D1 changes. I hope that helps you now. Both have YouTube sessions, so you can just explore my YouTube sessions for both of them. I've just guided you about that. The links of the YouTube session is given right on the slides in front of you, so you can just explore that. Already I've shown you the page, my YouTube page, where the sessions are available. You can see the D2 session in circle. You can see the D1 session in circle. So if you spend time on them, you will be perfectly prepared about these syllabus changes. Is that clear? So D1 is 1 hour session and D2 is like a 38-minute session. So in all, 1 hour and 38 minutes, and you will be done with D1 and D2. Clear? Noted? Done, everyone? So please be familiar with changes, because in the September 21 exams, examiner did use the terminology significant audit risk. Might be in certain countries, might not be in certain countries, but that's how the papers are set for ACCA. Now it comes different in different parts of the world. But you should be aware of the changes in D1. You should be aware of the new article, which is Risk and Understanding the Entity, which came ahead of the September 21 exams. You should watch my video on that and read it. Secondly, you should be aware of how the results in the question number 1 will be presented. How will you evaluate these results? How will you interpret these results, which will be presented more graphically to all of you. The last change, G. Now we know the G change is the current issues. G2 is the change. Additional learning outcomes have been added to the current issues. So examiner have added some more outcomes to the current issues section of the syllabus in relation to the audit reforms. So in future, examiner might come writing an article on audit reforms and the impact of the global events on the audit practice, like COVID. So what we foresee in future exams? Do we foresee examiner writing an article on audit reforms, or do we foresee examiner writing an article on impact of the global events on audit practice? Because these are the areas which have now been added on. But we know till the time the examining team don't write an article on audit reforms or impact of global events on audit practice, we cannot expect something coming into your paper. You will be expected to have a high level of awareness of the issues and the proposals surrounding audit reforms and how major world events have impacted on the profession. So examiner is saying you should have a high level of awareness. But for this high level of awareness, there should be an article. So examining team will come with an article to give you a high level awareness on global events impacting the audit and on the audit reforms. So in future months, examining team might come with articles on audit reforms and how the global events are impacting audit practices. Is that clear to all of you? So syllabus area G2 is about the current issues, and examiner expects from you that you should have a good knowledge for current issues in terms of what? You should have good knowledge about current issues pertaining to audit reforms and how global events impact audit practice. Global events impact audit practice. Now, if you are a clever student, we know what is the rule of thumb. We know the rule of thumb is that when the examiner writes an article, only then current issue is examined. Only then a current issue is examined, right? But if you are a clever student and you know that the examiner wants you to be well versed with the audit reforms and with how the global events impact the audit, what you can do as a student, if I would have been in your place, just to be on the safe side, because again, the rule of thumb is when examiner writes an article, then only it comes in. So I might go to my my search engine. Just let me show you the search engine for 1 minute. Okay. Can you all see the Google in front of you? Just please confirm that. Okay. Now, if I'm a clever student or you are a clever student, what will you say? You will say impact of COVID on audit practices, something like that. Impact of COVID on audit practices, right? On audit practices globally. Enter, and you get links. See? Now, there is an ACCA link coming here, interestingly. That means ACCA has written some guidance on that for their members, not for you, right? So you say, oh, this is an ACCA link, impact of COVID-19 on audit and assurance. So you say, oh, this is wonderful. I should be reading it. So I copy the link address and I put this link address to your chat box. See, has everyone got this link address in the chat box? Right? And I copy this link and I take this link back to my Word file to be on the safe side. Can you see the Word file again? When I search Google search, this is what we get. This. See, on the Google search, this is what we get, right? Impact of COVID on audit practices. So on a safe side, can you read this? Even though we know whenever the examining team writes an article, they examine it. But is this an ACCA publication? Is this an ACCA publication? Not a AAA publication, but is this an ACCA publication? So on the safe side, should you read it? What if the examiner wants you mindset ready? What if the examiner asks you something about 5 marks on COVID impacting audit? So on the safe side, will you read it, everyone? Have you got this? Now you go back to the Google again, and on the Google, you write recent audit reforms, ACCA. See this? Can you see when I wrote the recent audit reforms ACCA, exactly what have been the reforms in UK? Because we don't know which country reforms is ACCA talking about, but because primarily ACCA is a UK body, they might be thinking about that the students are aware of the reforms in UK. So see this first article, the primary objective of the UK audit reforms must be. Is there an article available on this, which is a journal ACC article, not for any paper, right? This is just like a news story. So just to be on the safe side, can I copy this link and paste in your chat box? Have you got this link? The reforms in UK audit practices. Should I put this down in my Word file as well on a safe side? Reforms in UK, audit reforms in UK. Audit reforms in UK, and I click here. So on a safe side, if you're a clever student, will you just spend like 1 hour reading this like a journal story, not spending more time on it? Just like a journal story, will you read it out? Just before your bedtime, just 30 minutes? Not like pressurizing yourself, right? Not pressurizing yourself, just like an order 10 to 15 minutes on both the articles quickly, today or tomorrow. So examiner is saying the current issues pertains to the global events impacting the audit practice. We got something for that. Audit reforms, you got something to that down. I hope this Word file, when you take a printout, will be very beneficial for you, because this Word file is giving you hyperlinks of things to read. It's also telling you about the changes which have come in the syllabus area D2, G, and D1. It is also telling you about the final word of thoughts. It's also telling you about the priority papers. It's also telling you about the key accounting standards. It's also telling you about the list of articles. So I hope this day one Word file is pretty productive for you when you take a printout. Right? Hamza, on the safe side, just spend 30 minutes on the 2 links I've sent you. The rule of thumb says article and then comes to the paper, right? But on a safe side, 30 minutes, is that difficult for all of you to spend on the 2 links I've sent you? 30 minutes, just browse over them and just keep a pen and paper with you. Just jot the key points. Just jot the key points from the audit reforms. Just jot the key points from the impact of COVID on global audit practices. 30 minutes. And what if a 5 marks question comes in? So rather than regretting, it's better. Now tell me, has this session day one benefited you from the start to the end? Because we're moving to a Q&A session now. This Word file will be saved and shared with you shortly on the WhatsApp group. Don't be worried about it. Right? Second, this presentation, which was right in front of you, will be shared with you. These pictures of the dashboards will be shared with you as well. So you can, these pictures very well. So you can just keep these pictures with you. I hope these syllabus changes are clear to all of you. The syllabus changes D1 about significant risk, prioritizing risk, and a new article. The syllabus changes D2 about results presented in a dashboard, and the syllabus changes G2 particularly about current issues on audit reforms and impact of global events on audit practices, right? Has this been clear? Are you understanding these changes in front of your screen now? Are you very clear with these changes? And you can still watch my September 21 webinar, right? I've shared the hyperlink. So these were the syllabus changes, right? Okay, now we worked through the study planners, we went through examiner reports, marking schemes, the benefits of the blank workspace. We went through the CBE practice platform, which will be discussed every day, day 2, day 3, day 4. Tomorrow we have an agenda for risk. We'll be drilling risk, we'll be prioritizing risk, significant risk. Everything will be discussed tomorrow with the platform. So we discussed the previous webinars to watch, the revision of the accounting standards, articles to read, knowledge, study approach, the need of the self-appraisal, frequently asked questions addressed, and then again, we found the right study planner from the day one. So day one was all focused on the right study planner. I hope you enjoyed the day one. Now, I'm just waiting for your feedback on the day one, and I'm just waiting for the questions coming in. Let's see, because the questions will scroll down very quickly in front of the screen. So I just want to ensure that I keep a focus. Yes, exactly, Javed. The 34% passing ratio includes the students who are repeating the paper as well. 34 means the student passed in that exam sitting, whether they are repeating or giving the first time. Thank you so much, Hamza. Yes, tomorrow I will be doing the question December 18, question number 1 on business risk and risk of material misstatement together. And I might just touch upon the March, June 21 question number 1, because I did that in the previous webinar, so I don't want to do it. But my main agenda tomorrow is December 18, question number 1, those of you who want to come prepared with it. If you are a regular student, just first complete your course with any tutor or any institute you are taking before you watch the webinar, or ensure your syllabus gets completed before you spend the last few days on this on this webinar to success, right? Yes, generally, Aksa, the students fail on 47, 48, and 49 because one of their question has gone bad. Either it might be section A or B. Because a lot of time when students go for scrutiny on 47, 48, 49, and the result they get from scrutiny is one of their question was below average. So you must have attempted either the last question in time pressure very bad, or your last question in time pressure went very bad. 47, 48, 49 means you started well, but you started well and you went down. Might be stress, might be time pressure, might be you panicked out, and that resulted in a failure. So 47, 48, and 49 does not mean you started bad. It means you started good and you ended bad. I hope you're getting the answer, Aksa. Typing speeds, Kamran, write a lot on blank workspace, write a lot on the practice platform. The more you write, the better for you, right? So there is no ideal word speed limit, but it's about completing paper in 3 hours. So a typing speed which can complete your paper in 3 hours is a recommendable typing speed. The more you write, the better for you. Yes, I will be talking about risk and interpreting results tomorrow. I will be talking about prioritizing significant risk tomorrow. So if you have any queries related to that, don't be worried about it. That is something which comes tomorrow, definitely. 3 webinars, right? I've recommended. So if you watch the 3 webinars, almost you will get everything. Some students are asking question for this topic, which webinar I should follow. 3 previous webinars with this webinar to success. That's wonderful. Okay, so some of the questions are just flying away from my screen. They just come in and goes off. Don't practice on Microsoft Word, Usman. Just practice on the workspace available by the ACCA directly. That's good. Yes, I will be going through the way of interpreting results from dashboard tomorrow, whoever is asking that question. But that's not difficult, right? Because the dashboard results is just giving you a graph telling you inventory days this much, last year this much. That's more easier. I think graphical results are better than the results presented in a form of a financial statement. I hope some of you might agree with me. So looking at a graphical result and understanding what's rising and what's falling is easier than looking at the financial statements, right? But I don't know why students find difficulty in every new thing coming in the AAA paper. I think the student have a lack of adaptability here. Every new thing comes in, the student has to make a hue and cry and a fuss. Yes, we are not used to anything which comes first time, but we have to be prepared for challenge. These webinars are helping you with that, right? When you came to this webinar today, you might not be knowing lots of things, but over the last 3 hours, you might have come familiar with them. So that's the benefit of these webinars, right? Yes, Majid, you can follow this webinar and the techniques of this webinar and the word file of this webinar and every previous recommendable webinar in the next 30 days to pass. Yes, I will be guiding you about the spreadsheets. Is there any need of spreadsheets in the AAA paper? Because the only need of a spreadsheet if is in the question number 1. There is no need of a spreadsheet anywhere else in the AAA paper, either in 2 and 3. The only need is in question 1, and that also is very minor, and that too in some exam setting. So I'll speak of the spreadsheet tomorrow in the day 2. So day 2 is a very important agenda for all of you. Day 2 is about risk. Day 2 is about doing an exam question, which will help you understand significant risk. I will be guiding you about that, prioritizing risk. I will also be guiding you about whether you should use a spreadsheet in paper or not, whether you should use a scratch pad in the paper or not. I should be telling you about how to evaluate the results of a dashboard, because again, that was a frequently asked question. And when I do questions on the platform tomorrow, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, every day I will be guiding you about different techniques, sometime use of calculator, sometime copy paste, sometime highlighting, sometime using the scratch pad. So I think over the next 4 days, when we end the webinar, you will exactly be prepared on taking on the platform, right? So tomorrow we have an agenda risk assessment, and tomorrow we will be focusing on a question on business risk and risk of material misstatement together, which is more likely a December 18 question number 1. But not just that, the platform, not just that, how the change of a significant risk impact you, and evaluating results through a dashboard. And I will be telling you about it, that if you don't prioritize risk, will you lose marks? Because this is an agenda for the day 2 tomorrow, right? Okay, just give me a quick feedback. How was things today? Have you benefited from the session today? If you can just drop in your quick feedback about today before I just wrap it up. If you rate out of 5, 5 being excellent and 1 being poor, how was the session today on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 being an excellent, 1 being poor. Okay, thank you so very much for that. So just let me sign off now from this webinar. I am Kashif Kamran, your tutor, signing off from the AAA webinar to success. This was the day 1, and we were preparing ourselves for the December 21 exams. I'll see you back tomorrow with the day 2, where we're discussing the agenda, business risk and risk of material misstatement. And alongside that, we'll also be looking at how the changes in D1 and D2 syllabus area impacts a question on risk, and we'll be practicing questions on the platform. So a lot more coming in tomorrow, 3 hours, when the webinar starts at 5:30 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. This webinar is a collaboration between myself, Kashif Kamran, and the PAC School of Accountancy. You can see the logos of that on the screen, my logo, as well as the PAC College logo as well. Thank you so very much for participating in the webinar today. I'll see you back tomorrow, and I'll be sharing the resources on the WhatsApp group on a daily basis, and the recordings will be uploaded on my YouTube channel and also in the WhatsApp group for your convenience. Thank you so much, all of you, for the feedback, for your time out, and for participating in this webinar. Take care. Have a nice day. I'll see you back tomorrow at the same time. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.